Hey folks, good to see you again. We'll get through this fairly quickly. Just want to give you one more little update here on the situation with potential tropical cyclone number 3. Didn't have a whole lot of time to touch on everything during the 10 o'clock newscast there. Bottom line is, I said it, bottom line already. So the story here is that it's a non-story. That is the story. We really don't have much to deal with here in terms of a storm. So we'll run through this. I'd like to be maybe out of your hair in about 10 or 15 minutes. I'm just checking to make sure everybody is up and running, and I've got it on my pages. I see it on my page. I see it on WAFB First Alert, and I now see it on, all right, good deal. We're also on WAFB main page. All right, so I'm going to give folks about 10 or 15 seconds to get rolling. See a hello from St. James. Hey, folks. Hey, everybody. Thanks for checking in here from Gonzales. And you know what? Everybody can do the dance, do the jig, because it's not going to be a big deal whatsoever in our viewing area. And some of you are saying, well, wait a minute, weren't you telling us 5 to 10 inches of rain? And yeah, I was. I was saying that back in Monday, even into Tuesday, and I felt uncomfortably good, if that makes sense, with that forecast. But keep in mind, that was when, instead of a track coming into Terrebonne Parish, the track was headed into Cameron Parish. And at that time, we also had a storm that all of the model guidance was telling us was going to be far better constructed and organized than this thing has turned out to be. So rolling right into it, here we are. We did get the 10 o'clock update for potential tropical cyclone number 3. And I mentioned during the newscast, and I'll say it again for those of you that weren't watching, I can't ever recall a time where a potential tropical cyclone didn't become a tropical cyclone. I'm not saying it hasn't happened in the past, but usually when the National Hurricane Center gives a system this designation, you know it's going to become at least a depression. And we say this all the time, but just as a reminder, 9 out of 10 depressions become named storms. So the general rule is, if it's a potential tropical cyclone, the rule of thumb is it's going to become a named storm. And as I said, this is the first time I can ever recall that not happening, where it never got upgraded. Now, the National Hurricane Center is still bullish about upgrading this system, even though it's practically on the coast right now. So let's take a look at what we've got going on. First off, taking a look at the cloud deck, and notice the main clouds, and particularly the convective clouds, the big tall clouds related to heavy rains and thunderstorms, are all well off to the northeast and the east of the assumed center. Now you will see we've got some showers breaking out closer to the low, and that's been happening just in the last hour or so. And probably what's happening there is as the core of what is presumed to potentially become the low pressure center, as it starts to impact the coast, you're getting a little bit of friction. So you're getting just enough maybe to kick up a couple of showers like you're seeing here. That friction causes lift. The lift generates showers. Not the kind of rains we're seeing back to the northeast, but you see, if you look really closely here, clouds here are kind of trying to wrap back around here. Now, that's a pretty broad circulation, so I still don't think it's going to fully coalesce. And if it were to actually coalesce, given the size of that evidence of the circulation there, we're probably looking at a subtropical system and not a fully tropical system. It would still get a name. It would be subtropical storm Claudette. But you know, I think if the Hurricane Center says later tonight and into the early morning hours that, yep, this became Claudette, I'm thinking that's going to be a stretch. But hey, let's just go with it. That's what they're planning to do, and I'll show you that here in a second. So looking at the situation, we'll take the clouds away. And again, there is some pretty hefty convection going on off to the northeast of that low. As a matter of fact, they've just issued a flood warning for parts of lower St. Tammany and over across the Pearl River into extreme southwestern coastal Mississippi. So in this area here, you do have at least evidence of some heavy, heavy downpours. And in fact, this is the zone where we're probably going to see the biggest rains, probably even more through, say, Slidell and up along areas like Picayune and up towards Hattiesburg. They're probably going to get more rain than farther off to the east, although you can see that you got rains extending all the way back into the Florida panhandle around this broad circulation. And here we are right next to the low, and we're going to probably get away with little or nothing. Some of you had some rain today. We had 1/4 inch of rain here at the studio, and it came in 2 little bursts. One was about 40 minutes long, the other was about 15 minutes, and that's been all we've had. And in between, we've had some drier air. It was actually pretty comfortable outside, maybe not as nice as yesterday, but not bad at all, and even some sunshine through a good bit of the day. So we certainly haven't had anything that would make you think, uh-oh, things are going to go south quickly. And in fact, they probably aren't. So here we go then with the track. By the way, what I've got shown here, this is the National Hurricane Center projection for where tropical storm force winds could be occurring right now. Now, this envelope is always, let's call it very idealized. It's sort of the theoretical extent of where the tropical storm force winds could be. And by the way, you notice nothing on the western flank of the low. Now this is I would call this a pretty generous wind field given what we're seeing in terms of observed winds. But remember now, this doesn't mean that everybody and everything inside this zone gets tropical storm force winds. It's just saying that's the outer extent of where they believe that tropical storm force winds, sustained winds, 39 miles per hour for a minute or more, where they could occur. So, and what we do know is that down in this area here and out, especially in the coastal waters, we have seen some periods where the winds achieved tropical storm force strength. So there's certainly something going on out here, and this broad picture of a storm may indeed, as I said, get close to subtropical characteristics. And by that we mean it's sort of a hybrid. It's not fully tropical. Typically what we see with subtropical systems is we'll often see that the convection, like this, is farther separated from the center. And we'll many times see a broader wind field with some of the stronger winds extending farther out from the core than you would in a tropical storm. So if this does earn a name, my guess is that the Hurricane Center would call it subtropical and not tropical, especially because if it's moving inland, then to upgrade it after it makes landfall, that sort of goes against the rules of the physics of a tropical system. So here we go then. Let's go ahead and take away the precipitation, and here's a look at the track. Tracking very near New Orleans, between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, keeping Baton Rouge and virtually the entire Channel 9 area on the western flank of the track line. And because this is such a lopsided system with the rains all to the east of the track line and the highest winds not just to the east of the track line but actually extended a little out and away from the track line to the east, we're fairly confident that we're not going to see much of anything in our viewing area. And of course, that's a good thing. Different story, though, for the southeastern parishes. Down here, we will see some pockets of tropical storm, low-end tropical storm force winds, 40 to 45 miles per hour. In fact, you see that the Hurricane Center is carrying that current 45 mile per hour wind inland all the way until 7 a.m. So we're talking about winds still at 45 miles per hour 8 hours from now? No, No, I don't think so. But and you also obviously see the symbolism suggesting either a tropical or subtropical storm. I do think that New Orleans could see some 40, 45 mile per hour winds. As you work across the lakes, though, by that time the system should be weakening. And notice as it works across the lakes, in fact, passing sort of right over Maurepas and western flank of Lake Pontchartrain, it starts an even harder turn to the northeast. So it's going to be out of Louisiana probably before lunchtime tomorrow. That's more good news. All of the energy is over here, and it's going to move away from us, not just move north away from us, but to the north-northeast. So for our viewing area, by lunchtime, the worst of any potential threat is long gone. Now, it doesn't mean we'll be in dry through the whole day, but I think things will settle down considerably as we get later in the day. And then as we go from Saturday into Sunday into Monday, by Sunday into Monday, what's left of it is all the way over in the Carolinas. And a lot of good support there. Here's a look at the spaghetti plots, and you see that they're all essentially lined up pretty well with the cone, suggesting that high confidence that this system, believe it or not, just off our coast right now, will be in the Carolinas by the time we get into early Monday. Looking at some of the winds recently over the last couple of hours, and our latest set of readings around the area, you see that generally from the Baton Rouge area and down to the coast, those winds, they're not light, but they're generally running in the sort of the 5 to 15 to 20 mile per hour range sustained, with gusts that are occasionally in the mid-20s. But we're missing out on all the real action. And you see, even look at New Orleans, for example. Right now, winds 8 miles per hour. You see the circulation pattern tends to be what you would expect, winds that are more flowing towards the southwest, a northeasterly flow in Acadiana, basically an east to west flow across the tidal lakes, and the flow basically out of the south off to the southeastern areas of New Orleans. But what we haven't seen much of at any time is a good indication of west to east flow on the backside of the system. That's why it's never been given a closed low. Hurricane hunters have been out there multiple times, cannot find a closed wind pattern where you have winds that are changing direction all the way around the center. In fact, we did a story there at 10 o'clock. You heard the folks from the hurricane hunters saying that we just couldn't find anything closed. So we've got a system that's got winds of 45 miles per hour, but it doesn't have a closed circulation. Therefore, it is not a cyclone. A cyclone, by definition, has a closed circulation where the winds are changing in all directions all the way around the center of the low. So there you go. And here again, here's where we have the tropical storm warning in yellow, and it includes, areas north of the tidal lakes. Again, I think that's being cautious with the weather, the Hurricane Center, with the potential that they're still showing possibly winds at 45 miles per hour as the system passes near and past the tidal lake. So we'll go with that. I mean, I think that's probably a little on the high side for winds on the north side, but we'll check it out tomorrow and see just how high the winds end up out there at the Hammond Airport. Now for us, flash flood watch trimmed back, and that was done early today. I mean, it was already evident this morning that we were really out of play in terms of the rainfall because all of the rain energy was off to the east. And then still suggesting 2 to 3 feet of surge down along the coast, and I think that's probably a little on the high side as well. Although certainly over here along the eastern flank of Plaquemines Parish and maybe St. Bernard Parish, and particularly in Lake Bourne there, I think you could see some places that water levels get up 3 feet or more. But the advantage here for lower surge levels everywhere, including the tidal lakes, is that the system has been moving forward at a fairly decent clip. Now, admittedly, it's slowed down over the last few hours, but my suspicion is it'll start to pick up forward speed again, and that's why, remember, we've got it out of the state by lunchtime tomorrow. So basically out of the state in about 12 hours or so. the wind field for tropical storm force winds. And this is a National Hurricane Center product. It is always a little generous in the forecast, but a couple of things to note. Yep, they've actually got this purple indicates a 90% chance or better. 90% chance or better of tropical storm force winds through and north of Slidell. Now remember, that only has to be 40 miles per hour. In fact, 39 is the cutoff where it becomes a tropical storm. So we're still not talking about blazing winds here, but sustained winds of 40 miles per hour long enough certainly can knock off some limbs on a tree, can loosen up some shingles on a house. Not critical, but not a big deal. But what I really want to focus on is over in our viewing area here, and you can see for most of our viewing area, the potential of tropical storm force winds is 30% or lower, and I would even lean it's probably on the lower side of lower. So we're not going to have to deal with winds, and we're probably not going to deal much with rain. In fact, our rain forecasts have come down even a little bit more over the last few hours, especially the European model. So taking a look at, first off, the GFS, the American model, and you can see where you see the shade of blue here, that's less than an inch of rain. And one of the things the American model has done is not only has it got rain totals around most of our viewing area well under an inch, but it has pushed the 1 inch or less contour, if you will. The blue line has been pushed all the way over to New Orleans now, which is a considerable jump west from where it was in the previous run. So the GFS, the American model, says don't worry about the rainfall. And by the way, this is through Sunday night. So this is not just for tomorrow. These are 2-day totals. And that's why earlier this afternoon, or rather this evening, I reduced my rain probabilities for Saturday and Sunday. Not because the number went down, but because I think the actual coverage, and remember, when we give you that percentage, we're talking about the percentage, the area, amount of area that will get measurable rainfall. With these numbers coming down, it doesn't necessarily mean that more people stay dry, but it does suggest that the coverage of the rain may, over the 2-day spell, may be a little bit lower than what we had been thinking, and that even if you do get rain on both days, it's not going to amount to much. Now, the European model, the latest run, has come in considerably drier for areas from Baton Rouge eastward. So yeah, here now, look at this, New Orleans under an inch, in fact down to ½ an inch, Baton Rouge 1/3 of an inch. So both of our global models have really said don't worry about the rainfall. And most of our higher resolution models have also dropped down their estimates markedly. So it's turning out to be a non-rain event as well. Here's what the Weather Prediction Center was showing as of this evening, and they've got it wetter over into the New Orleans area, still carrying rains of maybe 2 to 3 to even possibly close to 4 inches. And the thing is here, I think when we wake up in the morning, this product from the Weather Prediction Center is going to bring those numbers down too. They only update this product twice a day, and they haven't updated it since the Euro came out. The GFS, they had one of the runs that was drier, and they brought their numbers down a little bit. But now with the Euro coming down considerably more, and some of the higher resolution models also dropping the rainfall amounts off, I think we'll see that come down considerably as well. So even there, though, we've got everything from Baton Rouge westward under an inch of rain. That was earlier today. I think when we get up tomorrow and we check out the Weather Prediction Center, it'll have everything from Baton Rouge westward under ½ an inch for the 2-day total. All right, so let's look at one of our models. Here's the graph model. And you'll notice in the animation, it's showing broad circulation. And that is what the National Hurricane Center is, if you allow me to say it. It's the hope they're hanging on to if this system is really going to become a cyclone. They've got to still hope that they get enough action rolling that they do get a closed circulation. And that's why if they do tonight or tomorrow, upgrade it to a cyclone, and cyclone meaning closed low system. They'll probably go with a subtropical storm, because you can see that it's already, as we get into Saturday morning, it's going to be inland, and you don't create tropical storms. True tropical storms don't form over land. So if it were to form, they'd have to go ahead, I think, and designate it a subtropical storm, and I just don't even think they're going to do that. And then you see, as we get into Saturday afternoon, the graph is showing you exactly what the National Hurricane Center's track is showing, which is it starts to shift off quickly to a more easterly track and heads off into the southeastern states, and we say goodbye to that. So the bottom line there it is, bottom line. The bottom line here is wind, not an issue. Rain, not an issue. A busted forecast for a storm that had a lot of ingredients that suggested something would come together, but what defeated it was steady shear that kept it from getting stacked. The convection, the low-level area of low pressure near the surface was fully separated from the convection building up out to the northeast of the storm, or let's do it this way for you. Storm center, northeast convection here. They never got stacked. And then on the western flank of that area of low pressure, all those clear skies you saw, very dry air coming in off of Texas and off the desert that was also eating away at the storm, keeping it from getting a closed circulation as well. So you see now, as you get into Sunday, we will get another round of rain on Sunday, so I'm carrying scattered showers and a few thunderstorms on Sunday too. But let me back that up one time. You'll see that most of that action on Sunday, though, is really flowing in off the Gulf. And come on now, work with me. You're not going to work with me? It's not going to behave. All right. So the bottom line is that those rains that rolled in came in off of the Gulf of Mexico, rolled in off the Gulf on Sunday, not sort of a tropical pattern like we will see for Saturday. So quickly then, first of all, once again, happy Father's Day. 50-50 rain chances for both days. Neither day's a washout. Neither day is going to be exceptionally or especially wet. One or two of you could get a downpour, especially on Saturday morning as we wait for the last of the rain bands to get out of the way. And then on Sunday, we get into a pattern that's much more typical summer-like pattern with the sort of the, think of that as that almost that sea breeze pattern, the showers and storms rolling in off of the Gulf during the afternoon. We're going to keep our eyes on the tropics. I'm going to stay here overnight tonight just to watch this system. If we do get a confirmation of a landfall from the National Hurricane Center, I'll go ahead and post that on social media. But for most of you, call it a night. Head to bed. Don't worry about this. Wake up tomorrow. Just see how wet the day is going to turn out to be. Earlier today, I was telling folks plan on staying in on Saturday. Now I'm even kind of thinking, you know, if you're going to need to get out, you can probably get out and about. Have the app ready so you can watch where the radar and check out where the activity is, and you should be fine. All right, so let's take a quick look and see if I've got any questions. How's Grand Isle? Good question. They're probably going to be dealing with some tropical storm winds down there and waiting for all of that mess to get out of the way. If I can get my system to cooperate here, we'll go back and we'll look at a couple of those features. Let's go back and see if we can pull up a radar and kind of get a sense of what's going on here. This ought to work. Yep. All right, so you can see, yeah, they've still got action down here, rolling in off the Gulf of Mexico, probably getting a rumble or two of thunder. Certainly getting some wind gusts there as they wait for this system to finally move inland. So, but Grand Isle is not getting pounded. And in fact, there was not even a voluntary evacuation, I don't think was even issued for Grand Isle or posted for Grand Isle. So all in all, they are doing okay. Port Fourchon, same story. Some winds, no doubt about it. They're going to get some water that maybe comes up 2, possibly 3 feet, but that's not really out of the norm for those folks either. And once this thing heads inland, the real threat down there along the coast will be over. Good question there. So, Ms. Lois, birthday time, huh? Happy birthday. Let's see. Silver Creek, Mississippi checking in. How about that? Somebody from Lake Charles, look, I can't imagine what you guys were thinking earlier in the week when it looked like it was coming your way. Woodville in the house, you bet. Thank you. Homa saying hello. St. Francisville. Livingston. How about Los Angeles? Joe Raleigh. How about that? Hey, Joe. Joe left us a number of years ago to go to the big city. Didn't like it here at Petticoat Junction. All right. Let me check a couple other sites here. Yeah, no question. Comment here about being able to handle the storm. No, I mean, let's face it, folks, it's barely even a storm. I mean, this is a reach for the Hurricane Center to stick to its guns and say, we're going to have a tropical storm tomorrow morning. We're not going to have a tropical storm tomorrow morning. Yeah, look, what I want you to understand is, and overnight tonight, we're going to get these passing showers. There's still going to be some of that wraparound moisture, and you see there's kind of an attempt to form up some rain bands, but they're not going to be the sort of that classic look of long lines of rain where you can get just storm after storm running along that rain band and dumping in your backyard. I won't say that there won't be any place in our area that gets 2 inches of rain or even 3 inches of rain over the next 2 days. There could be an isolated location that gets whacked by a slow-moving thunderstorm, and probably if that were to occur, it'd probably be a bigger likelihood on Sunday, the way it's shaping up right now, than on Saturday. But the bottom line is the bottom line. He's in my head now. I'm never going to forget that. The story here is going to be that for most of us, rain totals are going to be absolutely manageable. All right. Lots of haze out there, and thank you for that. Appreciate you all checking in. We about covered it here. I don't see much in the way of any more questions. Looks like, well, thank you for the Happy Father's Day wishes there. Yeah, I am looking forward to visiting at least briefly with my grandson, if I can, this weekend. Hello from Maurepas. Hey, Summer. Hi, Jan. Good to see you there. All right. I think we all have got the message here. This is pretty close to a non-event. I don't want you to say, okay, nothing's going to happen. Some of you are going to get some rain tonight. We'll have rain off and on next 2 days, but there's nothing really to worry about. I appreciate your patience. We gave it our best shot. Mother Nature decided that she just wasn't going the way that the computer models thought she would. And in the bigger scheme of things, I'm happy about this. I hope you're happy about this. And if you did change some plans and it turns out you didn't need to, I'll apologize for that. But I think you understand, we're not here to make you watch or to get clicks on the social media or to try and frighten you. We're here really, when we give you the forecast, we're telling you the same thing we're telling our family, to get them prepared for what we think might happen. Have a good evening. See you in the funny papers.